Good morning. Today is Wednesday, March 27th, and this daily bread is titled, Commitment to Christ. It's from Luke chapter 22, verse 47 to 71. The key verse is verse 69 to 70, and it says, But from now on, the Son of Man will be seated at the right hand of the mighty God. They all asked, Are you then the Son of God? He replied, You say that I am. While he was still speaking, a crowd came up, and the man who was called Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He approached Jesus to kiss him, but Jesus asked him, Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss? When Jesus' followers saw what was going to happen, they said, Lord, should we strike with our swords? And one of them struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his right ear. But Jesus answered, No more of this. And he touched the man's ear and healed him. Then Jesus said to the chief priests, the officers of the temple guard, and the elders who had come for him, Am I leading a rebellion that you have come with swords and clubs? Every day I was with you in the temple courts, and you did not lay a hand on me. But this is your hour when darkness reigns. Then seizing him, they led him away and took him into the house of the high priest. Peter followed at a distance. And when some there had kindled a fire in the middle of the courtyard and had sat down together, Peter sat down with them. A servant girl saw him seated there in the firelight. She looked closely at him and said, This man was with him. But he denied it. Woman, I don't know him, he said. A little later, someone else saw him and said, You also are one of them. Man, I am not, Peter replied. About an hour later, another asserted, Certainly this fellow was with him, for he is a Galilean. Peter replied, Man, I don't know what you're talking about. Just as he was speaking, the rooster crowed. The Lord turned and looked straight at Peter. Then Peter remembered the word the Lord had spoken to him. Before the rooster crows today, you will disown me 3 times. And he went outside and wept bitterly. The men who were guarding Jesus began mocking and beating him. They blindfolded him and demanded, Prophesy, who hit you? And they said many other insulting things to him. At daybreak, the council of the elders of the people, both the chief priests and the teachers of the law, met together, and Jesus was led before them. If you are the Messiah, they said, Tell us. Jesus answered, If I tell you, you will not believe me. And if I ask you, you will not answer. But from now on, the Son of Man will be seated at the right hand of the mighty God. They all asked, Are you then the Son of God? He replied, You say that I am. Then they said, Why do we need any more testimony? We have heard it from his own lips. Daily bread. First, Peter denies Jesus. In this passage, we see 2 different levels of commitment. Jesus was committed to fulfilling God's will, even if that meant abuse and eventually death. On the other hand, Peter, when confronted with opposition, quickly abandoned his commitment as a follower of Jesus, even denying knowing him. Sometimes we do the same thing. When we face trouble and persecution, we shake in our commitment to Christ. We become closet Christians, hiding our faith to protect ourselves. How do we overcome that and keep our faith? Our love and commitment to Jesus has to be greater than our fear and desire for self-preservation. Making Jesus known should matter more to us than what others think of us. But we can't do this on our own. We need God's Spirit and power to strengthen us. Instead of letting fear take over, let's pray and ask for God's intervention in our hearts to help us overcome and remain faithful to Him. Second, following Jesus no matter what. Judas betrayed Jesus. Peter denied him. and all the disciples fled when he was arrested. This shows how weak human loyalty is. The disciples couldn't stay faithful when faced with trouble or temptation. There's an important lesson for us to learn. Our human loyalty to love Jesus, study the Bible, or serve in the church doesn't mean we're truly committed to following him. Real devotion to Jesus is a deep heart matter. We need to examine how far our love for Jesus goes. Will we still follow him if it meant losing everything, our reputation, friends, money, comfort, or even our lives? Our actions now reveal the sincerity of our commitment. Where do you tend to compromise in your faith? Maybe in relationships, times of trouble, or when following Jesus goes too far beyond your comfort zone. Well, remember this. Jesus went all the way to the cross to demonstrate his love for you. Let's not abandon him or even follow at a distance. Instead, let's experience the depth of a loving relationship with him by following him closely, no matter what. Prayer. Lord, help me to stay faithful to you, even when I face trouble and opposition. Help me to not rely on my passion or human loyalty, but on your strength and power to overcome. I want to follow you closely, no matter what. One word: be committed to following Jesus.